Hello and welcome back to this month's monthly sky guide, where we go over everything that is up in the sky and how to best take photos of it for the month. And today we are on to November. So as always, let's get started with the lunar dates. So there's a full moon right at the end of October on the 31st. So you will be starting off with a mostly full moon in November. We then get the third quarter on the 9th, a new moon on the 15th, the first quarter on the 22nd, and a full moon at the end of the month on the 30th. Now this means that if you are wanting to do any deep space or wide astrophotography of the Milky Way, you're going to want to do it in the middle of the month around that new moon. Or even the third quarter is good if you're shooting early in the evenings, because during the third quarter the moon will be rising in the morning, so you still have sort of, until like 2 or 3 a.m. before the moon rises. So early to middle of the month is the best time. So we do have a couple of special events happening this month. We have 2 meteor showers. First off, we start with the Northern Taurus meteor shower. This is happening on the 12th of November. It's quite a small meteor shower, up to about 5 zenith per hour. But it is visible in both hemispheres. So if you're out and about around the 12th, do expect some meteors in your images. Next up, we have the Leonids meteor shower. This is on the 17th of November, and this is a bit more substantial. You get up to about 20 meteors per hour. Again, visible in both hemispheres. And in this meteor shower, they will be originating from the constellation of Leo. Jumping on to the solar system, and it's a good month at the moment for imaging. Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Uranus, and Neptune are all visible for imaging from a planetary perspective. Mercury reaches its highest point of elongation on the 11th. So the highest point of elongation is the highest point above the horizon, which is the best time to view since Mercury is very close to the sun. So by getting it as far away from the sun as possible, that means you are best able to take photos of it in the darkest skies possible and looking through the least atmosphere possible. So if you have never tried taking a photo of Mercury, try around the 11th this month. Next up, and this is an exciting one, we have a penumbral lunar eclipse on the 29th or 30th, depending on where in the world you are. And this is visible quite widely, actually. All through the Americas, Oceania, Russia, and Eastern Asia is all able to view this penumbral eclipse, which will be quite exciting. So hopefully we get some clear weather on the 29th or 30th of November for that. Next up, we have a conjunction with Jupiter and the moon, and it's a reasonably close conjunction, actually, about 1.7 degrees apart. So that will be a nice one to capture if you have quite a long focal length and you can get into that sub 2 degree field of view. You should be able to get a good bit of detail on Jupiter right next to the moon, which will be quite nice. Or if you wanted to do a bit of a wider field of view, then obviously you can do the full moon and Jupiter and its moons next to it as well. Next up, we also have Uranus reaching opposition on the 1st. So this means it's a great time to take photos of Uranus. It's as close as it gets, which means it's also as bright as it gets. So if you've never taken a shot of Uranus before, make sure that you try this month. It will be hanging around for a little bit of time at opposition, so it's not an urgent one, but I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. Finally, Mars has now sadly passed its opposition, and it is going to be fading quite quickly. So if you would like to get some final viewing or imaging on it, make sure you do it in the first half of the month, because towards the second half of the month, it's going to be getting quite a bit smaller and then continue to fade away. And we won't be seeing another opposition for Mars for 2 years. So do get all of your Mars fix done and dusted in the next, I would say, 3 weeks to month, because it will drop off quite quickly beyond that. Next up, let's jump into our individual hemispheres and go through some of the landscape and deep space objects that are best for imaging this month. So we'll jump onto the computer. So starting off in the northern hemisphere this week, And unfortunately, Milky Way course season has definitely ended. It is way below the horizon now by the time we get dark, which is unfortunate, but it is still possible to get some nice vertical shots of the Milky Way. There is a full arm available, and you can absolutely get some beautiful wide angle shots reaching all the way up depending how wide your lens is, or even doing a mosaic, which is quite nice. We also still have the option for some early morning Milky Way shots here as well. In the northwest, there's this lovely arm here still available. So I would say that they're the two best wide field shots you can get at the moment. Jumping into some deep space objects, we have the Andromeda Galaxy, which is up really nice and high early in the night. So if you didn't want to stay up too late, definitely the Andromeda Galaxy is a great one, as well as the Triangulum Galaxy, which is another beautiful little spiral galaxy. As the night progresses, we have access to the full Orion Nebula, as well as the Flame and Horsehead. We've got some of the Witch Head Nebula over here, the Rosette Nebula, and high up overhead we have the Pleiades, which always looks fantastic. We've also got right next to that the California Nebula and the Northern Trifid Nebula. These are great things to take photos of at the moment. They're nice and high reasonably early on, and they stay high until the early morning. We of course also have the planets, with Mars still looking good and Uranus up nice and high as well. Now jumping into the southern hemisphere, and as you can see, it is still possible to get a little bit of that Milky Way right on the horizon in an ultra wide angle lens, but it's really pushing it. You only have until about 10 o'clock at night, and it is going to be really low. So definitely make sure if you want to get any Milky Way shots this month that you are far away from light pollution, because you're going to be looking through a lot of atmosphere really low on the horizon, and really any major light source is going to make it so that you lose most of the detail from that. We do also have a gorgeous view of the Orion Nebula at around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. In the east, you can get Orion here really low on the horizon. So if you wanted to place something like a tree or a big object, and then if you wanted to get the beautiful nebulosity inside the Orion Nebula, it will look fantastic low on the horizon at the moment. The southern hemisphere does also have some more Milky Way opportunities early in the morning, with this arm coming up nice and high just before sunrise. So absolutely you can get some good shots looking into the southeast here of the Milky Way arm. Jumping into deep space now, and the Triangulum Galaxy is at a good spot at the moment. Not too late at night, up reasonably high. You can still get the Andromeda Galaxy, but really it's going to be tough. It's quite low on the horizon, so you're going to need to be up high and have really low light pollution in the north. But Triangulum Galaxy will look quite good. We also have access to the California Nebula at the moment. Pleiades is up really nice and high early as well, and that looks good all night at the moment as it makes its way overhead. Of course, we also have the Orion Nebula, the Flame Nebula, the Horsehead Nebula, the Running Man, everything amazing in Orion. You can also do some beautiful wide field at the moment of all the nebulosity around here, as well as the Witch Head Nebula. So absolutely, we are getting prime time at the moment to look at the Orion Nebula. Look at that right overhead. It's going to look beautiful. The southern hemisphere does also have good access at the moment to the large and small Magellanic Clouds. You can see here they are visible all year round, but at the moment they are starting to reach their peak of height. So absolutely large and small Magellanic Cloud. If you haven't taken images of the Tarantula Nebula or Tucan 47 and the Small Magellanic Cloud, I highly recommend it. It is a great time to do so. Then in the upcoming months, we are going to have access to our absolutely gorgeous Carina Nebula. So make sure you get images of all these other things at the moment, because as we hit summer, things are just going to keep getting better. So that's it for this month's Sky Guide of what to take photos of. All the best with clear skies. Get out there, take some photos, and please tag me. If you take some good photos of objects like this, tag me, Astro with Roro. I'm always excited to see the images that you guys are having. And I've got a couple more reviews coming up, so stick around for those. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, like it. If you've got any comments, drop them below. And if there's any particular tutorials that you guys are looking to learn about, please let me know, because I'm looking to put together a bit of a tutorial bank where I can help you guys make the most out of your editing, or how to, take photos, or whatever it is the best that you want to do. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you next time.